question will begin with Dustin Rowe. How do you plan to limit or eliminate the high rate of abortion?
When this country was founded, we were guaranteed three things in the Declaration of Independence. Life, you know where I'm going, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those are the only three things we should expect our federal government to do for us. I'm going to go in reverse order and answer your question with life at the end. Pursuit of happiness. We should be allowed to pursue our own happiness and not expect our happiness from the federal government. Amen? That's the way we were founded. Secondly, liberty. I told you earlier we owe $15.7 trillion in this country. If you spend $1 a second, 24 hours a day, it would take 32,000 years to spend $1 trillion. And at the end of this year, ladies and gentlemen, we will owe $16 trillion. And first but last, life, which is the most important. Our founding fathers gave us a government that would protect life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness because they said those are the very rights given to us by our Creator, God. That's what it says in the Declaration of Independence. Last year in this country, we as taxpayers gave from our federal government $497 million. That's $500 million to Planned Parenthood. How many abortions did Planned Parenthood assist with last year? 300,000. We only have abortion in this country legalized because of one person on the Supreme Court in 1973. We were founded to protect life, yet the very most innocent, that baby in the womb that can't speak, can't hire a lawyer, can't go represent his or herself, is not protected in America. We have to, number one, repeal Roe versus Wade. I think that we are very close to that. Secondly, we need to put men and women on the courts of this country who will respect and stand up for life and who will recognize that it is a founding principle of this country. And if you send me to Congress, I've studied the Constitution, I've been a small-town lawyer for 10 years, I understand how to make a constitutional argument, and I want to talk to those judges that are being nominated for life and make sure, by the way, a judge is nominated for life. They can't be fired, they serve until they die. Make sure that they understand that this country was founded to protect life because the courts gave us abortion and it's the courts that need to undo it. Thank you.
Dakota Wood.
And remind you that it's the Senate that confirms judges, the House of Representatives. The question has to do with minimizing and eliminating abortions. And it just astounds me that since Roe v. Wade, we've had 50 million abortions. We spend more time and energy and dollars to make sure that convicted mass murderer doesn't go to the electric chair than we do in protecting the life of people. It's been said that the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to be done. Why in the world did we get Roe v. Wade to begin with? Why have we allowed pro-choice to dominate the discussion and to use words like a woman's right, you know, forgetting that there are two people that make babies, you know, where's the man's right in that thing? Where the good people in our country stood up and forced their representatives to pass these laws to undo the damage and the crime that was done in 1970. And so I think that people in elected office have a positional advantage where you and I can say the same thing. If one of us is an elected official, the television cameras flock, and you have that bully pulpit to make an argument for. Our elected officials have to be much more aggressive and articulate in talking about life, what it means to us, what Christian principles are involved, the necessity of protecting the life of an unborn child, and using that to replace the stigma on abortion, to make it socially unacceptable, to reintroduce morality and goodness and the sanctity of life into our public debate. And we as good people have not been good about that for some decades. So I think the answer to that is to be much more articulate and aggressive in the public domain to reclaim that argument to ensure that our country does value and champion the things that we say we value and champion.
Dwayne Pettigrew.
First of all, it's a child, not a choice. That I'm probably the one person up here tonight that has a proven record on this subject. 10 years in a row, I had 100% pro-life voting record. You don't have a 10-year, 100% pro-life voting record unless you're totally pro-life. The reason I say that is we have questionable bills that come out there every year when you're in the legislature, and the Oklahomans for Life rate those bills and decide whether or not those are a true pro-life bill or a wannabe pro-life bill. And at the end of the day, they rate those bills, and a lot of people don't have 100% pro-life voting, even for 1 year. I had that for 10 years. I was one of the principal authors of our partial birth abortion bill. We did that, I think it was 2001. I also was one of the principal co-authors of our Choose Life Cards Act. I, again, don't have anything other than that to basically point out that if you vote that way year after year, then that's what you believe. And again, I have a proven record on this issue, and obviously would always stand for pro-life issues if elected to the U.S. Thank you.
Let's go back in time and have a little education. When the fathers wrote about life, maybe just a pursuit of happiness, they literally meant life. We don't need to, or I hope that we don't think that we're the only generation, or even past many generations, that abortion's been around. Been around for centuries, 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 centuries. James Wilson, one of our signers, also addressed that even in that day. He wrote, basically paraphrased, he said that life begins at the first movement that the mother feels that baby. Why do you think he was right about that? It was an issue. If you want to know what the fathers meant by what they wrote, there's many things they write, including the fairness papers, that tell us what they meant. Life is protected now upon conception because of our technology. We understand more about it. So life begins at conception. And we need to understand that we need to protect that. Now, let's understand another thing. Well, it's a woman's right. Understand this. Rights come from God. Government protects rights. Don't ever get that misconstrued. And that's what we've done. We've got that misconstrued. We've totally misunderstood that. We think that government gives us rights. No, they don't. They protect our rights. And the rights that God gave us, like the laws of nature, nature's God, that our founders understood and wrote about, is life. We have to feel that. Someone needs to lead out on that. And that is not going to be a pretty battle because we're not educated enough on even the Constitution and founders, much less God. We throw God around a lot, but I don't know how much we understand as far as when it comes to that, about what he really wants. We're going to have to stand on principle. And until we stand on it, nothing's ever going to change.
Thank you.